Right guys, so today I've got something a little bit different. I'm going to be doing a review on my website builder that I use for my website. Obviously I'm going to be using my own website as the example because obviously I need to be able to show you what the website builder is like behind the scenes. There are some things I really like about it, and then there are some things that I find that hold me back quite a bit sometimes. But the first thing I'm going to say is it's really easy to work with, and I'm not a coder. I can't even begin to get my head around learning to code. But the reason I mentioned that is because there are two ways to do it. Number one is the way I used, which I just used the website builder itself, and it's all laid out pretty simply so that anyone can just kind of, with a little bit of common sense, you can work it out and you can build your own website. But there is another way, and you can actually input your own coding, which is probably more for if you're either you can do that yourself or you can hire someone to build your website for you. So when I go through the things that I find hold me back, I'm probably just not making the most of it. I'm sure if I could probably input my own code, then I could get around these problems. But anyway, let's get into it. So what I'm going to do first is actually just run through the website as the viewer sees it, and just explain sort of the things I've done with it and how I've laid everything out, that sort of stuff. So I chose to have a kind of home page. This is the landing page that you get to if you type in my website address. And on it I've managed to put my social media links. They're actually on every page, so they follow through on every page, which I really like. I've kept it kind of quite simple. You can actually set things up to have links to other pages within your website. So for example, each one of these images I have here takes you to the appropriate project. So for example, I'll click on this big one here and it will take me to the project that that picture is in, and I have them all listed here in alphabetical order, so you can get drop down boxes, which is really useful, and then I've just organised my projects like that. Now the way it works is that you choose a gallery page, and I'll show you all of this from behind the scenes in just a second. You choose a gallery page and you can choose whether or not the images automatically align with each other and fit into a kind of collage. I have that feature turned on because I find it really works well, and it just automatically fits them in as best as it can. See, I've got landscape pictures, a square picture, a panorama, a 360 really long panorama, so it doesn't matter what shape image you have, it will fit them all so that they don't look out of place. On the computer version, you can hover your mouse over a picture, and if you've written the title will come up. And then when you click on an image, you just manually kind of click right or left to go through the gallery. One key little subtle thing that I've also done is I've put my copyright information, just literally copyright Joe Francis, at the bottom, and that stays on every page. And you only need to do that once, and it just kind of sticks to the bottom nice and subtly. So it has a blog feature, so you can write a blog and it will put them in the order that you uploaded them in. I had to do a big blog project for uni. I mean, it was technically called a professional development plan, but whatever, the point is I made it like a blog, and it kind of listed it all chronologically so you could just scroll through it. And yeah, it was a good feature and it worked absolutely fine. What I've done with it now, I've deleted all of that because it was for uni, and I've put an events page, but it is the blog feature. So it works in the same way. I can put an entry in and it will list it in the order that I upload them in. As you can see, I've got a YouTube video embedded, so you can do that. And finally, I just want to talk about my shop, not actually talk about my shop page, but the shop feature of the website, if you get me. Now, the shop section is actually, or the store I should say, they call it a store, I've named it a shop, you can name it whatever you want. This is the part that I find holds me back the most. So on the basic plan, you get up to 3 items in the shop, and then I've upgraded to the kind of, I can't remember what it's called, I'll show you in a minute. It's just one stage up, and you get up to 15 items in the shop. As a photographer, you're probably going to upload a fair amount of images to your website, and maybe you want to sell prints of each one of those pictures. Each one of those pictures is going to take up an item, unless you keep them all the same size and then you can actually add options onto each item. So for example, what I've done is I've got a single image that takes up one item, but my options are sizes and framing options. So you can upload up to 5 images, which I find 5 images for one product to be kind of limiting, especially if you've got a lot of options on there. For example, I've got a different option for each frame style and then a different option for each size, and that takes up a lot if you want to photograph each one. And really what's going to kind of sell it is having enough images on there to show people how is it going to fit into their room, that sort of stuff. So I do find 5 sample images to be kind of limiting on that. But I can say that the shop is actually fairly easy to set up in terms of the payment method. So up here you've got, in the corner you've got the cart, just like any other online store. So I'll just add something to the cart just to kind of show you the process. So obviously you get your drop down boxes, and there I've got my options. You can have actually as many options as you want, I think, and then you get to choose your quantity. And in the store section behind the scenes, which I'll show you in just a second, you can decide whether you only have one as a one-off product or if it's continually in stock. So I'm just going to add that to the cart, and the way I have this set out is I have a PayPal account, and that all just kind of syncs in and works together really, really easily. It just means that I don't have to be responsible for taking payment. It's secure, everyone knows what PayPal is. Not everyone uses it, but everyone trusts PayPal basically. You could use any other payment service, it doesn't have to be PayPal, but I went for that one because it just kind of gives people peace of mind, I suppose. So if you are a PayPal user, it literally, you just need to type in your sign-in information and then that's done. And I think that kind of makes it quite easy for people. And again, if you've added something to your cart that you don't want, you can just remove it. So in that respect, the store function of the website builder works quite well. So you start off in the design section and you're going to choose your theme. This basically kind of decides the way you're going to lay your pictures out and the colour of the background, that sort of stuff. Although I do find that once you've done this part, there's kind of no going back unless you kind of redesign the whole website. This is like the foundations of building a website, this is where you start. And some things like the text I find are so difficult to change because you have to go through so many menus to get to it, and it's for the wrong one. But it does accommodate different users, so you've got your basic setup there where you can just kind of choose the background colour and pre-made setups, you can just templates, sorry, you can just choose those. Or you've got your advanced there. This isn't the coding that I was talking about, this is just kind of, it gives you way more options. I think most people will probably be able to use the advanced. You kind of need to because it gives you text options and image size options, that sort of stuff. The logo that they talk about is you can upload an image or text, and the logo is actually it's just my name at the top there, the title, so it's dead in the middle. But you can choose the font and the size and the colour, and you can also have it linked to the homepage of your website or any page really. So when you click on it, it will take you home. It's got an option for a site icon there, so that's what will show up in the corner of your tab on whatever internet browser you're using. It's tiny, you won't be able to see it, but it's definitely nice to have. One of those. Now, the text is what I have had probably the biggest issue with. Each bit of text is connected throughout the whole website. So if you change something on one page, say the font, it will change on every page. And I'm not really a fan of that. And I always used to find this so hard to get to, although I think they've updated it and they've made it a bit simpler now. But they've titled each bit of text as something different. So, for example, site menu and heading text and body text. So I always thought that the heading text was that, and then when I changed it, it actually changed something completely different somewhere else, and I couldn't deal with it. Yeah, I can't. It's difficult to explain, but I had lots of issues changing the text because nothing added up to what the title was called. And then it seemed to kind of just change all of them when you changed one of them. I don't know if that's the same now, but that was really difficult to work around. Social sharing, so this is where you just simply put your links in, you choose what type of account it is. So there I've got my Facebook, Instagram and YouTube, and it just lays them out automatically, and you can change what order they go in, and they work absolutely fine. So when you click it, it will take you into an extra tab so that you don't lose where you are on the website, because as a viewer of the website, if it took you away from the website, deleted the tab, there'd be no encouragement to go back to the website, and you really want to be keeping people there. And finally, in the kind of foundations of building it in the design section, you've got your code editor there anyway. It gives you a little warning to say that you really probably shouldn't be doing this. But yeah, that's really, if you were to hire a website editor to build your website for you, they could probably make it way more advanced than what you can do yourself if you don't know how to do coding. But I didn't use that because I am not capable of doing that. So Format is obviously designed for artists and photographers specifically, so it's not just a kind of blanket website builder, it is tailored towards photographers and artists. And one little sign of that is it gives you copyright protection on your images. Obviously you can take a screenshot of them, you have to make your own protection by reducing the image quality when you uploaded it. It's a good idea to do that anyway because it helps the website load faster for the viewer, and if it doesn't load quickly, you're not going to put the time and effort into it. When you right click an image, normally to right click and save, it will not let you do that. So when you right click an image, it will come up with a copyright information. So for example, it says this photo is copyright 2018 Joe Francis, all rights reserved. It stops the average user from just right clicking and saving your images at least. You can set up your email, your website address to be used as your email address. I haven't done that, I've kept it separate. And here's a nice little feature that is also linked to this builder being aimed at photographers and artists. They have a spotlight feature, and this is where you submit your own website or portfolio to be looked at by editors of Format, and it will be judged, and if it's any good they'll showcase it for you. The website domain is a big thing, so I had some technical issues with this. So they are linked with Hover, which is a platform for website domains, and they're kind of linked together, so they encourage you to buy your domain through Hover. I did that as my first thing, and I had joefrancisphotography.com. It kept crashing, it just destroyed my website. So I went to 1&1 and got joefrancisphotography.co.uk and then linked it all together, and then it was absolutely fine. I do want to say though, they were so helpful, and this is the big thing about Format. They have such a good support team, and they're so quick and they're always there. It's an American, I don't know if it's American or Californian or whatever, but my point is they're in a different time zone to me, and but they still have people working in my time zone, so whenever you need something, there is someone there. This video isn't sponsored, I'm just sharing my thoughts with how I got on with Format as a platform. And the support is great, it really is great. And so they sorted that out all for me. You don't have to do anything complicated. You just follow their instructions, and they really do make it quite simple. So this is the section that you're going to spend most of your time in. And to be honest, it's fairly well thought out. You literally can drag and drop things on top of each other and they'll stack in that order. So you can see here it correlates, and it gives you a little preview of what it looks like for the viewer right next to it, which is just absolutely essential really. And then a little button that will take you to view your site on the page that you've just edited to see how it works for the viewer. And the way I have my website set up is the way I have it set up. There are so many different things you can do. You can have your homepage to be a slider that automatically happens, and the templates are really handy. They're not like really crap templates, they're actually good, and they have quite a few different ways of setting it out. And you just click it, you put your pictures in, it fits them in automatically, and it's all well and good. So let's go into a project and edit. What I have this set up as is known as a gallery, and what that means is, because you can have different types of page basically, and for me gallery works best, and what that means is that you upload your pictures, it lays them all out for you. You can change the order you put them in, but as I said earlier, it lays them all out for you so that they all fit together, whether they're landscape, portrait, square, whatever. And I find that really, really useful, as I just would not have the time to individually, manually put things in a way they need to be. As I said, you can manually change the order they come in, but then it fits them all together, and it's just great. I love that part. So what you do is you just add an item, and you can embed a video, so you can't upload a video to it, so you'd have to upload it to a YouTube channel and embed it. You add an image, and you can either upload it from your computer or Dropbox, or get it from another page to save uploading it again, a page that you've already got. So I'm just going to pretend to make a new page. So here are your options. There's the gallery that I use. You can just completely make your own page without any templates, or you can just have it as a button to an external link. So for example, what I'm going to think of doing is actually make a separate website for commercial portraiture, which I'm going to get into, and I'm going to have that as a menu option at the top, and when you click that button it will take you to another page, as opposed to having it as a part of this website. I want to keep them separate. Submenu, that's what I've got there, that's the projects list. There's your proofing for password protected galleries. And so how a gallery works is that it's mostly image based, so you can add a little bit of text if you want to. I just normally put a little title or a description at the bottom, but you have to choose between header text and a header image, so you can't have a big header image and then a little bit of text underneath it. You can have a text box that will fit in with the images, but you can have one or the other basically, and that's possibly a little bit limiting. So here's the thing with the store. Now there are some cool things that you can do with the store. For example, you can set discounts, you can put discount codes. I'm not going to show you that because I actually do have some discount codes on there. But you literally just type in whatever the code is you want it to be, and then you input what that means. Does it mean an amount of the whole order? Does it mean a percentage of the whole order? Does it mean a percentage of the order if you get this many products? Whatever. That's quite good. Then you have your orders section, so it keeps track of every single order you've ever had. Set it to send an email out to a customer if you want to. Say, your order's on the way, whatever. You can manually input on that orders section whether the order's been sent, whether it's pending, etc. And when you say that it's been sent, it sends an email to the customer that it's on its way, sort of thing. So you can set a password protection for the store as well. So for example, going back to that wedding example, if you wanted to sell just the prints to the people at the wedding, obviously you would not sell it to anyone else who wasn't at the wedding, so you'd put a password protection on there, which is a fairly useful feature. You get to call the store whatever you want, so once I had it called Prints, now I've got it called Shop, because I sell more than just prints. And on the Pro plan, which is the kind of middle level if you like, I am allowed 15 items, and as I was saying earlier, I find that perhaps a bit limiting, because as I said earlier, I've got about 86 pictures on my website, and I'm only allowed 15 items in the store, and I sell more products than just prints. So for example, I've got my book, but you can add options to your prints. So let's go on to this one, and if you want to work on something, you don't have to publish it straight away, so you can just click whether it's unlisted, will just be unavailable to the viewer. They won't be able to even know it's there. You can mark whether it's sold out, available, coming soon, etc. And you can also, it's not just for products, so it's for services and digital downloads. You get a cover image and 5 example images. And okay, I've only got 4 there, and I said 5 was a bit limiting, so that's a bit contradictory, but I do find 5 to be quite a holdback sometimes. You have to put one price, and so when I show you on here, it comes up with that price, the minimum price basically. So everything there is pretty much 20 quid, because that's the minimum, that's the basic thing for all the options. It would be nice if you could put from £20 to whatever. I think that would be a bit better. But you get to put the title of the drop down label, and then you can have really as many options. I've never reached a limit on the options, so I don't think there is one. And basically what I've got, I don't have too many options because it just gets a bit messy, but I've got some sizing options. I keep the paper the same because there's only one paper that I print on. That's the way I want my images to look, and it would look different on other paper, so I only give one paper option. But I have different options on sizes and different options with framing. So I've got standard frame that I can just get that supplied fairly quickly, or I've got a handmade one which obviously takes some time but is a much better quality, etc. And then the shipping. This is probably the biggest thing for me. So this has obviously been updated since I last used it, because the only option you had was United Kingdom, which is your own country, and then the only other option was everywhere else. And it's like, okay, that does not work. I cannot post to America for the same price as I can post to France. You can add your own country, and when you start typing it does give you a drop down list, and you can literally choose any of the countries, Croatia for example, and then just type in the amount. You would have to work out your amount from your postage company. I forgot to mention it does have support for mobile devices, which you can view through the website builder online. It's also all out automatically, and I find that it does actually work really well. The only thing I would change is that when you click on an image to blow it up on your phone or whatever, you cannot then further zoom into it, which on a small screen you really need to be doing that, but that's the only thing. So in conclusion then, I actually really do get on very well with using this website builder, and I do like the way my website looks. There were not very many swear words used when building my website. That's very different from Wix that I tried to use fairly early on. I didn't get very far into it. I could not handle that website builder. And by the way, since the website's been published, I've never had any problems. I've never needed to contact them again. So there's never been any bugs or anything. It's great. So if you're still watching, thank you very much. You're probably the only one. But thanks anyway, thanks for your support, and hopefully I'll see you in another video.